My goal in this video is to go over the mistakes that I made in my life so that you can avoid them. And so in this video, I'm gonna cover 3 huge mistakes that cost me millions. The first mistake was not getting rid of the alcohol and the marijuana from my life. And I smoked for 8 years straight. And during those 8 years, I always made the excuses that marijuana did not slow me down. I said that it would help me with my anxiety and help me with sleep. And I would say that it's a plant. And for 8 years, I smoked straight and I never was able to find success. And it wasn't until I stopped smoking that I realized that it actually slowed me down. I was able to regain my focus, my clarity, my energy, my enthusiasm, and my desire to go out and win increased significantly. Because when I smoked marijuana, it made me feel like everything was okay. But the reality was nothing was okay. I was broke, I was miserable, I wasn't having success in any area of my life. I was simply lying to myself that everything was okay because that's what the marijuana tricked me to do. The second mistake that I made was I was always trying to impress others. Now, in today's day and age, on social media, there's so many people out there that are fake flexing and so many people that pretend to be successful and they get all this attention. And I wanted to be like that. I thought that if I didn't look rich on Instagram or Facebook, that I wasn't cool. And it's because that's what social media had put into the minds of many young entrepreneurs and many young people. And I fell victim to that trap. So I was consistently spending money that I didn't have. I would go into debt just so that I could look cool and I can look impressive and I can look rich and wealthy, when the reality is I didn't have anything. And so I was focused more on looking rich than actually being rich. And I fell into that trap for many, many years until finally I decided I'm done with that. I'm done playing that game. I'm actually gonna put all of my focus on actually getting and acquiring wealth so that I can be rich, because I know it's gonna feel a whole lot better than pretending to be something that I'm not. The third mistake that I made, and this is probably the most important, was shiny object syndrome. Now, if you don't know what shiny object syndrome is that every time a new opportunity comes up, I would shift and focus my attention on what that new opportunity was. And I was never able to allow myself to get enough consistency and gain enough speed and momentum to actually take off into the thing that I was working on. So I would start going and going and going. And after maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 months, I would give up because I never got the result fast enough. And I always wanted success fast because I always thought that if I wasn't being successful in a short period of time, that I was never going to be successful. And so for 10 years of my life, I switched around my action and my effort, and I was focused on real estate and cars and insurance and windows and roofing and so many different areas where I was just never actually able to become consistent enough and get so good at one thing that every time I would start something up, I would just end up failing at it and switching over to something else because I thought that I was going to be able to get there faster. It wasn't until I learned that I just had to be so disciplined and so dedicated to one thing, becoming the best at that one thing, and never stopping until that one thing actually achieves a very, very high level. That's when I would actually be successful. And I spent 10 years of my life chasing so many different things, focused on so many different things, rather than just being devout and committed to becoming the best at one thing. And so my advice for all of you that are watching this, get rid of the drugs and alcohol in your life. You don't need them. Don't justify the reasons on why you should have them. If you're not in a place where you want to, my advice is get rid of it until you are in a place where you want to be. The second piece of advice I have for you is stop trying to impress others and actually impress yourself. Be impressed with yourself, get disciplined with yourself, and understand that it's way better to be rich than to look rich. My third piece of advice is to be devout to one thing. Be committed to one thing until it works out. Do not shift your attention if something's not working in 3 months or 6 months. It takes years to actually be able to get traction so that you can take off. Understand that the first couple of months that you're starting something, all you're doing is you're building that runway for the plane to take off. And the longer you spend in doing that thing, the longer of a runway that you're building so that you can have a bigger takeoff for your future and for your success. If you guys liked what you saw and you got value from this video, like, comment, and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.